Chapter 16. Nora. "You'll go down in history for that performance," Samuel declares as security escorts us through the stadium tunnel and into our Escalade. The praise from fans is muffled from inside the car as we leave the arena. Samuel undoes the button on his blazer, then leans back in the seat facing mine. His stained teeth reveal themselves between his thin lips. "Not only were you captivating, but casting Joseph's friend as a contestant. Nora, that was brilliant." I can't believe it. I struggled to contain my giddiness, feeling the adrenaline propel me into euphoria. "Did you see how many people were out there? Did you hear them?"
"I could feel them."
Samuel tightens his fist, pride swirling in his abyssal gaze.
"Before you created Greater Good, we had fans. We had shows with viewers. But tonight, I witnessed a form of worship."
He leans forward.
"With the number of eyes on us, with their interest, with their willingness to surrender their attention to such a wicked display, there's no telling how much deeper we can drown them in their own morbid curiosity."
His eyes flick right, and the passing city lights cast a glow upon the side of his face.
"With the crowd now pouring their time and energy into Greater Good, their minds are ours. The world is in the palm of your hands, Nora. All you need to do is take it."
The world is in the palm of my hands. My eyes are fixed on Samuel, and I see the future of Greater Good unravel between us. I see world tours. I see merchandise and spin-off shows produced in different countries. I see our morbid displays revolutionizing morosity itself. And when it's all said and done, I will be immortalized in history for having successfully done death's bidding. I'll never need to worry about my name being forgotten. Samuel pours 2 glasses of celebratory champagne. He hands me a glass, then clinks his against it.
"Here's to living forever."
I lift my glass to my lips, hiding my grin. Samuel downs half of his glass, then pulls out his phone. As his attention shifts to the screen, I feel like I'm left alone in the back of the Escalade. I consider pulling out my phone too. I want to text somebody, asking what they thought of tonight. I want to call somebody, asking if they want to celebrate this win with me. I finally give in, scrolling through recent messages. There's a long list of incoming messages from celebrities I've become acquainted with over the past month. Most of the messages are trivial questions about the show's afterparty tonight. Not a single text rooted in a genuine connection. Amid the thread of self-centered chatter, my thumb stops over my conversation with Ryan. An ache manifests in my core when I see the preview of the last text he sent me. I open the last conversation. The text from Ryan read,
"Are we still meeting for dinner? Not sure if you ended up working tonight. Regardless, I'm at the restaurant, so let me know."
As I put my phone down, I'm left with a heavy heart. It becomes painfully clear that Ryan always saw the light in me long before I sold myself to the dark. Glorifying death granted me a world of opportunity. Hell, glorifying death gave me the world, but it stripped me of my connection with the world. It robbed me of the only light in my life. My obsession with fame and my fascination with death cost me true love. Is it possible to have both the world and true love? Maybe that's a question I should have asked myself before I chose the world.
"Nora."
Samuel's thunderous voice fills the back of the car.
"I've said your name 3 times.
He adds. He tilts his head, reading my mind before his eyes drop to my phone.
"Is it important?"
"Is what important?" I ask, picking up my glass. He frowns.
"Whatever you're looking at on your phone."
I shake my head, then finish my champagne. Before Samuel says another word, I extend my empty glass in his direction. His eyes narrow, knowing I'm avoiding his question. Despite his suspicion, he refills my glass anyway.
"We'll be at the after party any second. I suggest you get your thoughts in order before you get out of this car."
You suggest I get my thoughts in order, or your thoughts in order? My words feel sharp against my tongue, but I can hardly regret speaking them. They came from a heart I forgot I had until Ryan's text reminded me. Every muscle in Samuel's face remains still except for the corner of his lips, which curl into a crooked smile. The car comes to a slow halt, and I don't let him hold my gaze for another moment. I chug my champagne glass and step out onto the sidewalk. Cameras flash from both sides of the walkway leading into the hotel. Celebrities are gathered in front of the branded step and repeat walls, posing for photos with Mendax and Greater Good printed repeatedly behind them. With my eyes fixed on the hotel entrance, I don't look back for Samuel. I know he'll be using a private entrance like every time before, leaving me to be his puppet for the press. Eyes, chin, shoulders. I straighten my posture, but not for photo ops or interviews. I ignore the microphones and cameras trying to keep me from the entrance. The doorman opened the doors for me, and I feel the eyes of partygoers and hotel guests watching me enter the luxurious lobby. I scoop a cocktail from a waiter's drink tray and finish it before I'm in the elevator. My buzz grows heavier with every floor I ascend past. By the time I reach the top floor, trying to stand straight becomes a fun little game I play with myself. I stumble out of the elevator into a narrow hall, which opens to a rooftop terrace where celebrities and public figures are gathered, all flaunting their success and stature. As I reach the terrace, I'm welcomed by a chilling breeze. I embrace it with my eyes closed and arms spread wide. "Cocktail, Nora?" a waitress asks, offering me her tray of elegant drinks. I flash the waitress a smile, wiggling my fingers over the various glasses. I lift one to her lips. "Take a sip," I urge lightheartedly. She giggles nervously, surveying her surroundings like she's being tested. Little does she know, she is being tested. If there's one thing I've learned from the success of Greater Good, it's that there is a tolerance for what you can get away with. Through piloting test episodes, twisting a narrative, and casting pretty people, it became clear that we underestimated the tolerance of our viewers. Getting people to off themselves on live television shouldn't be easily tolerated by the crowd. But then again, Mendax and the media have been testing the crowd since long before I came into the picture, and now I'm a part of that test. So, now that I've seen what Mendax can get away with, what can NORA FICTUS get away with? Can I get anything I want from the people at this party? Can I completely unhinge myself, reveal all my secrets, and still be accepted by this crooked community? Go on, drink some, I urge the waitress again. She sucks in a quick breath, then sips the cocktail. When she hands it back, I smirk. Her eyes widen when I finish a glass and a few gulps and grab another. I turn my back to her and continue deeper into the party. Strings of twinkling lights adorn the edges of the rooftop, casting a warm glow over society's elites. Now that I've reached a level of fame and power higher than anyone here, I find myself unamused. Life is less fun without boundaries to push, less fun without something to chase. My mental clarity is fleeting with each step I take. Attendees relax in plush sofas and velvet cushions. They express their superficial looks of admiration, fighting for the chance to have me look their way, to breathe the same air. For once, I refuse to entertain these people. Instead, I entertain myself by testing the next person I lock eyes with. I smile sadistically at a man wearing a silver wedding band around his ring finger. I pull his attention from his group by simply walking in his direction. I lick the rim of my glass without breaking eye contact, and a smirk plays on his lips, affirming his interest in me. He opens his stance, dragging his eyes up and down my body until I pivot in the opposite direction of him. I convinced a waitress to drink on the job. I convinced a married man to unwittingly engage in a flirtatious exchange. It's possible that with my newfound stature and spiritual allure, I will always get what I want. I will always win. So now I'm on a mission to lose because I've learned that always winning isn't as fun as I thought it would be. Tonight, the most valuable win will be walking away having lost. The drinks flow through me at a dangerous rate. I start finding it difficult to gauge risk, blurting out thoughts and ideas before I think them through. How far can Nora go? The most handsome men open their stances to me when I get close. The most influential women offer their full attention when I speak. This is influence. This is power. A hand gropes my ass. This is interesting. I didn't know you get down like this. I turn to see Danny Davis standing over me wearing a cocky grin. Is tonight the night I see the side of you cameras don't? I narrow my eyes on him. It's been a while since he interviewed me on his talk show, yet the way he holds me suggests we've been together ever since. His otherworldly aura of stardom radiates, his thick strands of hair falling loosely over his sharp cheekbones. A layer of sweat coats the sides of his face, his pupils dilated. Danny's lips meet my ear. You were astounding tonight. He breathes into me. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but my publicity team thinks we would stir up real press by hooking up. The alcohol makes it easier for me to look him in the eyes. Is this your way of asking me to dinner? Danny lets out a laugh. Let's skip dinner. Despite his sleaziness, he's somehow still charming, but also trouble. Mostly trouble. I know this because he reminds me a bit of myself. I can have my driver take us to my place within the hour. Second thought, he could take us now. If you knew what I do, you wouldn't go anywhere with me. I slur. You entertain. Danny shrugs. This is a Mendax party. We all entertain. I entertain? I laugh, then bring myself centimeters from his lips. I do death's bidding. He blinks at me, confused at my remark. That's right. My voice grows louder. You entertain, Danny. I turn, pointing to the people around me. You entertain. I don't fucking entertain. Nearby conversations fade, giving me the silence I need to expose myself once and for all. Eyes land on Dorothy, who is shaking her head for me to stop, but it's too late. How far can Nora go? I'm not like you, I shout. I'm not like any of you, which is why I don't expect you to understand what I actually do here. My tone is raspy, my own words fighting me from sharing them. I was given a gift. Death came to me with greater good as a way for me to do its bidding. That's right. I created a machine that murders people. I manipulate innocent, broken people on live television, and you all praise me for it. The world thanks me for it, and my viewers worship me for it. My heart is beating out of my chest as I stand at the center of the terrace. Everybody keeps their distance as I raise my glass. I fixate on Samuel standing in an elevated section above me. So here's to making deals with deceivers. My eyes meet Danny's. Here's to being beautiful, but only on the outside. My eyes pan over the eyes of everyone else. And here's to death being the only constant. You can distract yourselves with fame, drugs, sex, and money, but death is coming for us all the same. And I sure as hell hope that whoever death introduces us to shows us mercy for all we've done on this broken planet. The rooftop terrace is filled with frightened expressions, all but one. A malevolent grin spreads across Samuel's deranged face. He's the only one raising his glass with me. I lift my chin, finish my glass, then spike it into the ground. I watch him laugh before I storm back into the building. I'm nearly sober, boiling blood replacing the alcohol in my body. It's taken me a month to realize that I've been Mendax's pawn, a mere cog in a machine that serves to push its narrative. These aren't my people. This isn't my world. I'm not who they want me to be. I'm not even who I want to be. Everything I earned on the outside was at the expense of who I am on the inside. The elevator doors open to the lobby, and I feel death's presence pulling at me like never before. I have no desire to go home. I have no desire to be anywhere at all. As I approach the lobby doors, it dawns on me that the only place I can go to escape death's hold on me is the only place death has the least influence. The place I decide to go to frightens death, and I feel it trying to steer my attention away. Death tries to pull my attention to the lobby bar. Get another drink. Death tries to pull my attention to my phone. Go home with Danny. Death tries to pull my attention anywhere but where I've decided to go. It's been years since I've last been there, and truth be told, I don't even think I'm welcome anymore. But I don't have a choice. I made a deal with darkness, and this is my last chance to find the light. I shut the taxi door behind me, now staring up at the weathered church. It's been years since I went to my last support group meeting here before my pursuit of fame blinded me from my pursuit of peace. Not much has changed, though the paint has faded and the steps are severely worn. I can't help but think it mirrors my deteriorating soul over the time past since I've last been here. A hesitant sigh escapes my lips. The weight of my poor decisions appears to be lighter the closer I get to the front doors. With cautious steps, I push them open, their creak echoing throughout the silent sanctuary. Wooden benches stretch from the middle aisle to either side of the church. A massive cross stands under a spotlight directly ahead. It reaches for the ceiling, propped against the wall behind the stage. Forget focusing my eyes. Forget lifting my chin. Forget cocking my shoulders back. I slouch forward, finally giving in to my exhaustion. After taking a few steps, I undo one of my heels. After a few hops, I undo the other and keep moving. My bare feet are cool against the smooth floor. I stop in the middle of the aisle a few rows from the front. A wave of humility washes over me when I realize it's the middle of the night and the cross is still illuminated by the spotlight. In every production I've ever been a part of, the spotlight eventually turns off. The show eventually comes to an end. But why is it that, in the middle of the night in a battered old church in the Bronx, the cross is illuminated on center stage? In the few support group meetings I attended here, I failed to accept that I was broken like the world and the people in it. I developed this mantra that my image is everything, when in reality, image is merely what you see, which doesn't necessarily make it real. The image I created of greater good is a lie. The image I created of myself is a lie. The only truth we hold is that we don't know the truth. A sniffle echoes from my right, and I turn to see a man sitting in the third row. The spotlight from the stage just barely reveals half the man's face, a scar etched along the left side. Joseph. Joseph says nothing while staring at me with an exhausted expression. I return the stare with the same intensity, which is little, if any, at all. Here sits my enemy, the man who threatened to destroy my only chance at leaving a legacy. All I ever wanted was to be somebody worth remembering. It was never my intent to corrupt the world in the process. After a few silent beats, Joseph moves his coat from his left side to his right, an invitation for me to join him. The silence between us is deafening as I stare at the empty spot beside him. He faces the cross. I cautiously accept his invitation, slowly sidestepping between the benches until I sit to his left. The two of us stare directly ahead, fixated on the cross. A shimmer in his lap catches my eye, and I notice him weaving a gold coin between his fingers. It glides in and out and around his hand without him even looking at it. In the blink of an eye, the coin disappears. My eyes flick up to see him staring at me. You know why I learned magic? I'm caught off guard by his question. It's so random, so trivial. We've waged war with each other over the past month. We're finally face to face, and he asks if I know why he learned magic? We have every right to strangle each other right now. I threatened his family, he threatened my career. I persuaded his friend to end his own life. He persuaded the crowd to protest greater good. I aimed to crush Joseph's spirit so he would stop telling people their lives are worth living. Fuck, maybe I am some kind of witch. It makes sense for him to wring my neck or bash my head repeatedly against the bench until I'm no longer recognizable. Instead of doing either, he reaches behind my shoulder and pulls the coin out from behind my ear. I learned magic to steer somebody's attention anywhere I wanted, he says. My eyes are locked on the coin until he holds up my phone. My jaw drops. How did you... I had you focused on the coin, Joseph explains, handing me my phone. Whenever I wanted to avoid tough conversations, I used little magic tricks like that to change the subject. Why are you telling me this? He looks over his shoulder and I notice his fresh bruise swelling over his right eye. He looks forward again and winces at a pain in his side. I use magic to hide the pain in my life. What kind of pain are you hiding behind greater good? I face the stage, chin raised. The closest I ever came to opening up was with Ryan. I've never considered myself strong enough to voice or think about it. The reason behind why I seek to leave a legacy through my name and not through children is something I've kept locked away in the abyss of my mind. But given my current situation, I no longer see the use in hiding it. I'm barren, I confess, lowering my head. I'll never be able to have kids. When I face the cross again, my vision is blurred by tears I refuse to let fall. When I die, there will be nothing left of me. It's why I've become so obsessed with greater good. If I can get it big enough, the world will know my name. Then I won't need to worry about it being forgotten. It's the legacy I'll leave behind. Joseph pulls a handkerchief from his pocket and hands it to me. It's baffling how two enemies can show such respect for each other in heated times like these. The paradox unfolds before my eyes, revealing how even the fiercest opponents can pause to acknowledge the brokenness that binds humanity. I should be happy to hear you struggle, and I should hate you for everything you've done, he exhales. But you only did it because you're broken, just like everyone else in this fucked up world. I can't shake the notion that Joseph carries a light similar to the one I saw in Ryan, but there's also this intangible weight, a spirit that accompanies him. Like my relationship with death, the spirit's presence lingers near Joseph like an echo, and it offers me peace. This form of peace is different from any I've ever experienced, and I can't help but come clean. I suck in a quick breath. This is gonna sound crazy, but I know death. A line shows between Joseph's brows. I've always had this morbid curiosity, and one day death gave me this idea. I was to do death's bidding in exchange for the success of greater good. I knew it would be my legacy and everything would fall into place as long as I performed. I thought that if I could sell myself to death by doing its bidding, it would help me leave a legacy that would live on after I die. Joseph's gaze penetrates into the depths of me. I can feel his empathy as if the two of us feel the exact same. I know death too, he finally says. I watched death take my wife from me, and since that night, I heard it in the silence. It would call to me in a whisper, especially when I watched your show. I squint at him. You hear it too? The whisper? He nods. I will say, I haven't heard it since I started to look away. Why do you think that is? He fixates on the cross. I think it's because I picked another path. I chose to find the beauty in life instead of fearing death. Ever since I started wholeheartedly choosing life each day, death has lost its hold on me. I can't help but think that we're part of something so much greater than this world. That we're just pawns on the chessboard, soldiers in battle, but not just any battle. It's like a spiritual battle, one between good and evil, God and the devil, life and death. Joseph smirks, his eyes still illuminated on the cross before us. I think we are pawns for sure, easily disposable. Some pieces are stronger than others, but it doesn't matter because in the end, we're just pieces in a larger game. You have no idea, I mutter. I sat in a room with people who basically run the world, and the world will never know their names or what they look like. If you think greater good is the end goal, you're wrong. It's just a distraction to keep people from discovering the real end goal. What's the real end goal? No clue, I shrug. Knowing Mendax's narrative must be above my pay grade. My only job is to keep the crowd distracted so the people above me can do whatever they want. My eyes meet Joseph's. Are you afraid of dying? Joseph puts serious thought into my random question. I guess it's a pretty loaded question, especially for a guy who knows death personally. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe it's a simple question that requires a simple answer. I used to be afraid, but now I'm too focused on living to worry about dying, he says softly. He grabs his coat and stands. I have a son to get home to. He exhales before passing me toward the aisle. Listen, Nora, no matter how the war between us pans out, I think it's safe to say that there is a bit of good in you. I didn't think that before, but after this conversation, I know it's there. You just have to find it. The path is yours to pick. You'll realize that even though you know death personally, you were born to live. Joseph turns, jams his hands into his pockets, and walks up the aisle. My eyes fall to the handkerchief he left in my lap. It's the remnant of a simple gesture that serves us so much more. I was so focused on being remembered after I die, I forgot to live. And in the process, I created a monster that's wreaking havoc on the human spirit. I could petition to shut down greater good, but Mendax will ruin me before I gain momentum. On the other hand, if I join Joseph's movement, I'll lose Mendax's trust, which would ruin my chance of taking down greater good from the inside. I'm pinned. But then again, the world's eyes are on me. With greater good's viewership at an all-time high, I've never been more famous or influential. I have a chance to use the platform death gave me in order to give my life meaning. Knowing what I know about Samuel and Mendax, they will never let me out of this business alive. But I'm okay with that, because the greater good I'm willing to die for is greater than greater good itself. I pull out my phone. Nora? Dorothy answers my call, her charisma radiating through the phone. Are you okay? I saw what you did at the party and I thought... I know. I cut her off. I fucked up. I'm sure everyone thinks I'm crazy. Let me finish, she says sternly. I was going to say that I thought what you did was brave. Some would also say brilliant, if they weren't too scared to say anything at all. I nearly blush. If you think that was brave, you're sure as hell gonna get a kick out of what I'm about to propose. I'm listening. After the scene I made tonight, there is no chance Samuel will let me host again. I have a feeling he's going to ask you to host, and I need you to do something for me. I need you to announce me as a contestant. I pause, waiting for Dorothy to respond. Silence. I clear my throat, then continue. Everyone loves you, Dorothy, and rightfully so. Our fans have idolized you from the start, myself included. I pause again, refusing to continue until Dorothy proves she's still on the line. I hear a sniffle. My eyes narrow at the stage before me as I process the fact that Dorothy genuinely cares about me. Of all people, the person I once considered a threat, the person I once envied the most. You can't... Her voice cracks. Nora, this is a mistake. You're making a mistake if you go through with this. I shake my head, gripping the phone with my now quivering hand. I made a bad deal, I admit. I know too much about what goes on inside of Mendax. If they know I want out, they'll come after me. The irony is, they'll make it look like a suicide, just in my own apartment. A laugh escapes me. If death is planning to take me, I would rather it be on center stage. And if I don't call you to the stage? Dorothy retorts hesitantly. What if I don't want you to end your life? My life ended when Ryan's did. A few silent beats pass between the two of us. It's evident that neither of us know what to say. It's also evident that we both know this needs to happen. Dorothy sighs. Nora. Dorothy. I cut her off, my voice now concrete. I know you can win over the crew members in security. I know you can get the prize handlers to distribute my cash prize. I know Samuel will ask you to host. All I ask is that you call me on stage when we go live and hand me the microphone. The last thing our viewers want is a greater good finale, which is exactly why we're gonna give them one.